Most guys think they'll know when a woman likes them. They wait for the obvious signs, a smile, a compliment, a bold text. But here's the truth. When a woman is truly obsessed with you, she hides it. Not because she wants to, but because her subconscious gives her away before her words ever do. You might be talking to her right now, texting her, walking past her at work, and still completely missing the signs. Because the real signs? They don't come from what she says. They show up in how she reacts when you're not looking. In this video, I'll break down 3 hidden behaviors that prove she's crazy about you, one of which most men misinterpret as disinterest. If you've ever asked, does she like me, or am I imagining it? This will give you the answer. And trust me, sign number 3, you'll never look at her the same way again. She doesn't reach out often. Sometimes it feels like she's fading. One moment, she's warm, playful, fully present, laughing at your jokes, dropping little emojis in your DMs like you're the only one she sees. And the next, it's radio silence. No good morning. No reply. Just that little seen checkmark that quietly wrecks your expectations. You go hours, maybe days, thinking she's over it. That maybe whatever spark there was, it was in your head. You start accepting she's moved on. You even try to move on yourself. And then suddenly ping. A flame emoji on your story from 2 days ago. A heart react to something random. 3 likes in a row on posts you forgot even existed. It's not just a coincidence. It's not a slip of the thumb. It's intentional. It's quiet, subtle, but emotionally loud. And that's the moment you freeze. Because now you're not sure what it means. Is she just bored? Is she playing with you? Is she breadcrumbing for validation? Or is it something deeper? Most men stop right there. They assume the worst. She's not into me. She's playing games. She wants attention. But here's what you're not seeing. This pattern, this inconsistency, is her fear in disguise. Her emotions are louder than she's ready to admit. She's not ignoring you because she's over you. She's holding back because she cares more than she's comfortable showing. Her silence isn't distance, it's defense. She's afraid of being too much, of being read too clearly, of losing all her mystery. So instead of leaning in, she leans out. She lets the space build just enough for you to question, to doubt, to miss her. And right when she senses that silence might turn permanent, she drops a signal. Not a message, not a confession, just a spark. Just enough to remind you she still exists in your mind. And you feel it, don't you? That little rush when her name shows up again after nothing. That subtle shift in energy when she reappears in your orbit like a shadow that never fully left. But this isn't a game. It's survival. Emotional survival. She wants connection, but not exposure. She wants to be felt, but not fully seen. So she operates in emotional fragments, small, timed bursts of presence that never risk too much. And unless you know how to read it, you'll miss it. You'll mislabel it. You'll walk away, thinking she didn't care. But if you pause, if you look closer, you'll realize this isn't disinterest. It's the opposite. It's a woman doing everything she can to protect a heart that's already too invested. Because when a woman is truly falling for you, but not ready to admit it, her behavior becomes emotionally calculated. Not in a manipulative way, but in a protective one. She wants to feel close to you. She wants to stay connected. But she's terrified of looking vulnerable, of being rejected, of giving you power. So she plays this emotional dance. Step forward, step back. Message you, then disappear. React to your post, then stay quiet for a week. And it's not that she's playing hard to get. It's that her emotions are too real, and that scares her. So she micromanages her energy to keep herself safe. She doesn't want to double text. She doesn't want to look desperate. So instead of saying, "I miss you," she'll post a song lyric about missing someone. Instead of asking if you're seeing someone else, she'll post a selfie that's obviously made to trigger curiosity. She doesn't want to admit she's thinking about you constantly. So she pretends she's busy, but her behavior betrays her. She checks your profile late at night. She notices if you're online. She watches your story in the first 10 minutes, but never replies. Why? Because if she replies, you'll know. You'll see how deeply she's into you, and right now, she's not ready for that kind of vulnerability. Here's what guys don't realize. When a woman is emotionally invested, her logic becomes fragmented. She's no longer making choices from a calm, grounded place. She's reacting, not always to you, but to the feeling of being seen. The more she likes you, the more she tries to suppress it. She rewrites your messages in her head. She stares at your name on her phone for 5 minutes before typing. And when she finally replies, she backspaces half the message, changes the tone, softens the ending, because she wants to be understood, but not exposed. And that's why her attention feels inconsistent. Not because she's not interested, but because she's overly invested. Think about it. People don't calculate their behavior when they don't care. They don't overthink when they're indifferent. But when she's obsessed, even slightly, everything becomes a signal. Every message is a strategy. Every delay is protection. Every silence is filled with questions. Maybe she's been hurt before. Maybe she's used to chasing men who pull away. And now that she actually likes someone, she's trying not to repeat the same mistake. So instead of being open, she goes mysterious. Instead of being honest, she chooses distance. It's not rejection. It's fear. Let's break it down even further. She sees you post a gym selfie. She doesn't like it, but she screenshots it, sends it to her best friend, talks about how good you look, then doesn't say a word to you. Why? Because she wants you to wonder. She wants to feel like she's in control. But deep down, she's spiraling. She's thinking, why hasn't he messaged first? Or, is he talking to someone else? So instead of texting, she posts a photo of herself, looking amazing, at the perfect hour when she knows you're online. She's not asking for attention directly, but she's hoping you'll bite. And if you don't, she might panic, but you'll never see it. This is emotional chess. And most men don't even know they're in the game. They either chase too hard and lose respect, or give up too fast and miss what could have been real. But if you know how to read the signs, you gain the upper hand, not to manipulate, but to lead. The key is subtle consistency. Watch how often she shows up. Look at the timing of her messages, the context of her likes, when she watches your stories, what she posts right after you go quiet. It's not about frequency. It's about emotional rhythm. You'll start to see the pattern. She never fully disappears. She always leaves just enough to stay in your head. Because she's afraid of being forgotten, but also afraid of being seen too clearly. She wants to be wanted, but not owned. She wants connection, but on her terms. And in that push-pull, the hidden truth comes out. She's crazy about you, but she's terrified that you'll see it and not feel the same. So instead, she leaves you signals, half-finished thoughts, small gestures, almost messages that speak volumes if you know how to listen. And here's what separates men who stay confused from men who move with clarity: awareness. You don't chase the silence. You don't overreact to the delay. You recognize that emotional distance isn't always rejection. It's fear wearing armor. So instead of pulling away, you observe. Instead of assuming, you lead. And when the time is right, you give her the space to feel safe enough to be real. She never says it outright, but you can feel it. The way she starts adjusting small things when you're around. You mention something once, and she remembers. You say you like a certain kind of music, and next time, it's playing in her background. You casually say you prefer simple over too much makeup, and suddenly her style softens. Not because she's trying to impress you in a desperate way, but because something inside her starts reshaping itself when she cares. And here's the crazy part. She might not even realize she's doing it. But the signs are there. Clear, subtle, constant. She talks differently around you. Less filtered, more thoughtful. She slows down her energy. She listens more. She doesn't just wait for her turn to speak, she absorbs. She stops interrupting, stops performing. She lets the silence linger, not to make things awkward, but because something in her feels safe. Safe enough to just be. And when a woman starts to feel that, she can't help but recalibrate. Her tone softens. Her attention sharpens. You might notice her becoming quieter in group settings when you're around, not out of insecurity, but because she's suddenly aware of your presence, how she carries herself, how you see her. That awareness? That's the second sign. It's the inner shift, the one she doesn't talk about, but you can see it plain as day if you're paying attention. She starts asking deeper questions. Not just, how was your day? But what motivates you? Or what scares you the most? She starts referencing things you said days ago, weeks ago, like they mattered. Like they stuck with her. And they did. Because when a woman starts to fall, really fall, your words don't land and disappear. They echo. They loop in her head at night. She thinks about your values, your habits, your rhythm. And slowly, without even trying, she aligns. Not in a performative way, but in a curious, open, slowly transforming way. You'll notice changes in her schedule. She used to be too busy all the time, always unavailable, always saying she's tired, overworked, or pulled in 10 directions. But now, Somehow she finds time. Not every day, not always predictably, but more than before. And that's the key. She doesn't magically get more hours in her week. She just reprioritizes. Because your presence starts to matter more than her routines. You become a variable she actually plans for. She might cancel something minor just to squeeze in that 20-minute call. She might say no to a night out just because she hopes you'll text. She won't say it. She might not even admit it to herself. But something is shifting. She's opening space for you in her world. And it's not just emotional. It's practical too. She starts improving parts of her life she knows you'd notice. Maybe she starts hitting the gym more consistently. Not because she didn't care before, but because your presence makes her want to level up. You're not pressuring her. You're not asking her to change. She just wants to feel worthy of your attention. And that desire translates into action. Quiet, unannounced, but very real action. She starts sending you updates on her life. Random check-ins. Just thought of you. Guess what happened today? Little things. Nothing dramatic. But there's signs of integration. You're becoming part of her inner world. She's no longer just sharing her day with friends. She's thinking of you when it happens. And that mental space, that real estate in her attention, is a major sign. Because a woman can be attracted to many men, but she only starts adjusting for one when she's emotionally invested. Attraction is passive, but transformation? That's personal. She might also start mirroring you. Your phrases, your humor, your way of typing. It's not copying, it's connection. Her nervous system is syncing with yours. You talk slower, she talks slower. You say something sarcastic, she throws it back playfully. These aren't performances, they're calibrations. Her whole body language begins to harmonize with yours. She leans in when you speak. She tilts her head the same way. Her expressions start matching yours in timing and tone. That's not coincidence. That's emotional attunement. And you don't get that from someone who's half in. You get that from someone whose walls are slowly coming down. And here's the wildest part. She'll pretend like none of it matters. She'll act cool. She'll shrug it off. She might even say things like, "I'm just like this with everyone." But she's not. You're different. Because you make her reflect on herself. And when a woman starts reflecting genuinely, she starts evolving. And if you're the trigger for that growth, it means you've hit something deep. Something that shifts her baseline. She begins rethinking what she wants, how she loves, how she carries herself. Not because you're fixing her. Not because she needs you. But because you inspire something she didn't expect to feel. So when you notice her slowly changing, not in drastic, dramatic ways, but in soft, consistent ones, pay attention. That's not coincidence. That's emotion at work. That's a woman trying to become a version of herself that matches the value she sees in you. That's not infatuation. That's investment. It's almost imperceptible. A flicker in her eyes, a half-second pause, a shift in tone. But the moment you mention another woman, any woman, her entire energy changes. She was light, playful, quick to respond. And now? She slows down. Her texts get shorter. Her emojis vanish. She goes from laughing at everything you say to answering with a dry haha that feels like a door closing. You didn't insult her. You didn't cross a line. You were just sharing something, a story, a situation, a random moment, and that story happened to include another girl. Not in a flirty way. Not in a dramatic way. Just as part of your life. And still, it hit her. Because she's not just hearing the words. She's picturing it. The other girl. The interaction. The possibility that you could care for someone else. And even though she has no right to feel it, even though you're technically not hers, even though you haven't had the talk, something in her stomach flips. Not because she thinks you're a player. Not because she doesn't trust you. But because she knows what she's starting to feel and she's terrified it's one-sided. So she withdraws. Not dramatically. She doesn't storm off. She doesn't accuse you. She just recalibrates. She pulls back the warmth. She stops texting first for a few days. She reads your message and doesn't respond until morning. You think she's busy, distracted, maybe even lost interest. But if you replay the timeline, the shift started right after you casually said, "Yeah, this girl from the gym said the same thing." Boom. The moment's gone. Her guard shoots back up. Not because you did anything wrong, but because now she's in defense mode. And defense always comes with silence. You'll notice the change in little things. Her responses lose playfulness. Her energy slows down. She doesn't ask follow-ups. She doesn't tease. And when you try to bring back the fun, it doesn't land. It's like you're talking to a version of her that's present, but not available. That's because mentally, she's processing something. Not just the moment, but the meaning. She's asking herself, why did that bother me? Am I catching feelings? Is this even safe for me? And if she's emotionally mature, she might try to normalize it. She'll talk herself down. We're just talking. He's allowed to have female friends. Don't be crazy. But her body doesn't lie. You'll still feel it. The delay, the distance, the awkward pause that never used to be there. Because her nervous system clocked a threat, and that threat was another woman. Sometimes it shows up in micro-jealousy. She'll casually ask, "Who is that?" when a name pops up on your screen. Or she'll fake a laugh and say, "Oh, you and your gym girls," while trying to sound unfazed. But the undertone is there. That little edge in her voice. That subtle drop in eye contact. She's scanning for signs. Not to accuse you, but to find safety. To understand where she stands, even if she won't admit she wants to know. You might also notice it on social media. You tag someone. She doesn't like the post. You comment under another girl's story, and suddenly she doesn't react to yours for a while. Her story views drop. Her engagement dips. That's not a coincidence. That's emotional disconnection, a quiet retreat to regroup, to see if you'll notice. And if you don't, if you act oblivious, that silence grows. Not because she wants to punish you, but because she's testing how much you notice her absence, like she noticed yours. This is where men lose the thread. They take her silence at face value. They assume the interest faded. But the truth is, you just triggered the most vulnerable part of her feelings, and she doesn't know what to do with it. She can't get mad, can't say anything, so she withdraws. And she hopes that you notice, that you ask, that you make her feel like the only woman again. Not through reassurance, but through presence, through energy, through clarity. And here's what makes this sign the most important of all. She doesn't want you to feel guilty. She doesn't want you to change. She wants to feel safe emotionally, safe to care, safe to not compete, safe to know that even if she's not yours yet, she's still significant. That's all she's craving in that moment. A sense that she matters more than whatever name just came up in conversation. And if you give her that, not by apologizing, but by being intentional, she'll open up again. Her warmth will return. The tension will melt. But if you stay unaware, if you miss the sign, she'll slowly close. And once she fully closes, it's hard to get her back. Because she won't forget that moment. That sudden reminder that she's not the only one on your radar. And until she feels chosen, even without the label, she'll never fully let go of that fear. So watch how she reacts, not when you're sweet, not when you're flirty, but when you unknowingly bring up someone else. That's when the truth leaks through. Not in what she says, but in what she doesn't say. In what she hides behind a neutral LOL or a in the pause before she replies. In the quiet shift in her eyes. That's not distance. That's emotion, caught off guard. She may never say it. She might never admit how much you affect her. But if you pay attention, not to her words, but to the shifts, the silence, the tension, you'll feel it. The way she subtly competes for your attention. The way she listens closer when you speak. The way she pauses when another woman's name leaves your mouth. That's not surface-level interest. That's depth. That's vulnerability. That's emotion trying to stay hidden and failing. Because when a woman is truly crazy about you, she doesn't scream it. She lets it slip. One glance, one delay, one random message at 1:43 a.m. And the man who knows how to read that doesn't need to chase validation. He just observes. He moves with awareness. He leads from clarity. And if you've seen these signs before or missed them until it was too late, let me know below. What's the one moment that told you she was more invested than she let on? Backhand index pointing out, drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this video hits something real, don't just scroll. Subscribe. Because the truth isn't in what they say. It's in what they hide.